Disclaimer: the information I shared in this podcast episode is opinion-based and gathered by various news publications. Opinions and views I expressed on this episode are entirely my own. This episode may include content not suitable for children. Any views or opinions I have shared are not intended to cause harm to any individual mentioned in this episode. Anyone mentioned is innocent until proven guilty. As I was doing research on sexual assault, I came across a video about Kevin Spacey's accuser committing suicide in December of 2019. I read the comments of the video and people were stating this is the third accuser that has died within a year. They actually died in a 3-month span in 2019. Some of the comments I read on the video is as followed. And one just passed away from suicide on Christmas Day. If this person ever gets a job in Hollywood again, I'll never watch another movie or TV show. Spacey paying to have them killed off one at a time. As you just heard, people do suspect Kevin Spacey of having something to do with these men's death. So let's dive into these cases and what they accuse Kevin of. If some of you do not know who Kevin Spacey is, he is an actor and he has played in many movies. So he is huge in the Hollywood film industry. Here are some facts about Kevin Spacey. Kevin was born on July 26, 1959. He is an actor, producer, and singer. He has won many awards throughout his career, such as Golden Globes, Tony Awards, and Academy Awards. His net worth is estimated at $100 million. He's played in movies such as American Beauty, The Usual Suspects, LA Confidential, and a popular Netflix series, House of Cards. In 2017, his career became derailed due to sexual misconduct and sexual assault accusations. In October of 2017, actor Anthony Rapp revealed to BuzzFeed that in 1986, at a party, Kevin Spacey carried him to a bed and climbed on top of him. This was reportedly at a party hosted by Kevin in his apartment. Anthony was said to be 14 at the time, and Kevin was 26. Kevin denied this accusation via Twitter. He also stated he did not remember the incident, but he apologized to Anthony for his actions. Kevin also used this time to announce that he was gay. He stated, "This story has encouraged me to address other things about my life. I have loved and had romantic encounters with men throughout my life, and I choose to now live as a gay man. I want to deal with this honestly and openly. And that starts with dealing with my own behavior." To me, guys, in my personal opinion, I find it very weird and disgusting that he used this time to not only deny or say he doesn't remember, but he apologized. How can you apologize for something that you don't remember doing, supposedly? So he used this time to come out of the closet and say that he's gay and he wants to live as a gay man. So to me, someone is accusing you of sexual assault, but instead you graze over it and use this moment to deflect by announcing that you were gay. That's very inconsistent, very selfish of him. Also on October 30th, 2017, actor Roberto Cavazos, his last name is spelled Cavazos. He is of Mexican descent. He accused Kevin of sexual assault via a Facebook post. It stated, he had a couple of unpleasant encounters with Kevin Spacey. He also stated that Kevin preyed on younger actors during this time as the artistic director at the Old Vic Theatre in London. Kevin remained there from 2004 to 2015. Roberto also stated, it seems the only requirement was to be male, under the age of 30, for Mr. Spacey to feel free to touch us. Tony Montana, this is actually this man's name. Tony Montana, who is a director, reportedly stated Kevin groped him at a bar in 2003 in Los Angeles. Tony stated Kevin grabbed him by his penis and followed him to the bathroom. It's also an accuser who remained anonymous. He goes by John Doe. John Doe, who was 14 years old at the time, accused Kevin of having a sexual relationship with him while Kevin was 24 years old. John Doe stated he met Kevin when he was teaching a weekend acting class. He stated the relationship ended when Kevin tried to rape him. Even though Kevin Spacey was only being accused at the time, he still received backlash. Netflix stopped production on House of Cards. Now, you have to remember that House of Cards was a major series for Netflix at the time. So they were bringing in millions from this series. Everyone talked about it and watched it. It was very popular. So not only did Netflix stop production on House of Cards, his publicist even decided to cut ties with him. At this time, a production worker from House of Cards also accused Kevin of sexual assault. Eventually, the number of accusers on the Netflix show amounted to 8. His accuser stated he made the work environment very toxic. After this, Netflix announced they would no longer work with Kevin Spacey. Kevin was also cut from an upcoming movie titled All the Money in the World that year. It was directed by Ridley Scott. Mr. Scott decided to cut Kevin's scenes and to bring in a different actor to remake Kevin's scenes. He also was in a movie, Billionaire Boys Club. Now, the Billionaire Boys Club, you can research that. That is also based on a true story. And they were looking forward to that movie to becoming something big. So he was in the movie, but when the movie came out, it didn't do good in the box office at all. And he was one of the main characters in the movie. And all this going on around this time, people didn't want to support his movies or his television shows. It was being talked about so much. They were just, at the time, done with him. Well, some people, because he still had some support. The London Metropolitan Police was also investigating 2 sexual assault allegations against Kevin. Meanwhile, Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department were also investigating a 25-year-old allegation that also involved Kevin Spacey. Altogether, he had 6 allegations against him in the UK alone. In January 2019, he was charged with 1 felony account of indecent assault and battery in Nantucket, Massachusetts. He was accused of groping a teenager at a restaurant, but was later dismissed in July of 2019 due to the accuser declining to testify and deleting messages from his cell phone. In this short clip that I will play for you, you will hear Kevin Spacey's lawyer speak about the cell phone messages.
I would suggest that it's a fishing expedition at this point, and that the motion should be narrowed at least to the 7th and 8th of July of 2016.
It's a fair point. Mr. Jackson or Ms. Bolero, I don't know who's going to respond, but feel free.
I'll be happy to respond. Alan Jackson on behalf of Mr. Spacey.
Sure.
Your Honor, I don't believe at this point that we need to talk about the scope. That's something in terms of a subpoena. In other words, what I subpoena or what I serve on those individuals might require a discussion or some litigation about the scope. All I'm asking at this point is that we preserve it. In other words, this is data that we believe is not only potentially exculpatory, but likely exculpatory for Mr. Spacey. I simply don't want to see any of that data deleted, destroyed, even inadvertently, or in other words, in any other way manipulated. I don't think it's a burden at all on the Commonwealth, nor on the 2 individuals named in the motion, MD and the complaining witness, to simply say, I'm ordering you not to destroy anything, so that Mr. Jackson, Spolero, Commonwealth can litigate in front of the court at some point whether or not out there is exculpatory information that leads all the way up to today. In other words, all I'm asking for is just to put a bubble around that data so it doesn't get destroyed. I'm not saying I get it yet. I just don't want it destroyed yet.
So that was Kevin Spacey's lawyer speaking in January 2019 to the judge about those messages. The next clip that I'm going to play you is actually in June 2019 before the case was dismissed, and Kevin Spacey's lawyer is still arguing about the supposed text messages.
Dino absolutely knows it. It was not a miscommunication. We were clear as a bell. We don't suffer from inarticulation. We told Mr. Giordino exactly what we wanted. We wanted information on the phone. We wanted everything that they had about the phone, and we wanted the phone itself. And his comment to us, it is not in our care, custody, and control. There's no other way to parse that. And I don't make these points lightly. It is not fun for me. This is not enjoyment for me. I don't like having to discuss an active misrepresentation by the people, by the Commonwealth, on behalf of the government. I think it's outrageous, I think it's unjustified, and it's not fun. But it's also inherently not fair to us. And so Mr. Glenny's comments, he's doing the best he can to call it a miscommunication. There was no miscommunication. This was an active misrepresentation, and it should never, ever be tolerated. Ever. Especially on behalf of the government.
What you're looking for is the phone.
Correct.
That's what this all boils down to, is you want the phone.
And at this point, given what we now know, and by the way, Mr. Glenny also says, well, they've got what they wanted. They've got this forensic extraction. They've got what they wanted. That's not true. Number one, we already know, and Mr. Glenny already knows, and he should be concerned that his extraction report is inaccurate. It is not an accurate representation of what's on that phone. How do we know that? Because of the group texts. There were group texts that they have in their file that don't exist in the extraction report. He knows that, I know that. So now we can all agree. Let's stop dancing around. We can all agree the extraction report is inaccurate. It has been manipulated. It has been, there have been deletions on it.
Okay, so you just heard Kevin Spacey's lawyer talk about the Nantucket case with the cell phone issue. So as we stated, in July, the case was dismissed. You have a cell phone, and the accuser supposedly has messages that can incriminate Kevin or help the accuser's case, but it's not on their phone. But the prosecutor is saying that they do have the messages. From what it seems like, they had a copy of it, but not physically in the accuser's phone. With that, and the accuser not testifying, the case is thrown out. And in my opinion, Kevin Spacey has a great lawyer. You see what having money can buy? He has a great lawyer. So many people believe that all three accusers died under suspicious circumstances. So let's unravel this together so we can get an idea of what happened before the accusers died. So on December 24th, 2018, Kevin Spacey released a creepy Christmas video playing his role character from House of Cards. It was titled, "Let Me Be Frank." So I want you guys to listen to this, and then you just make up your mind of what you think about this video.
I know what you want. Oh, sure, they may have tried to separate us, but what we have is too strong, it's too powerful. And after all, we shared everything, you and I. I told you my deepest, darkest secrets. I showed you exactly what people are capable of. I shocked you with my honesty, but mostly I challenged you and made you think. And you trusted me, even though you knew you shouldn't. So we're not done, no matter what anyone says. And besides, I know what you want. You want me back. Of course, some believed everything and had just been waiting with bated breath to hear me confess it all. They're just dying to have me declare that everything said is true and that I got what I deserved. Wouldn't that be easy? If it was all so simple. Only But you wouldn't believe the worst without evidence, would you? You wouldn't rush to judgments without facts, would you? Did you? No, not you. You're smarter than that. Anyway, all this presumption made for such an unsatisfying ending. And to think it could have been such a memorable send-off. I mean, if you and I have learned nothing else these past years, it's that in life and art, nothing should be off the table. We weren't afraid, not of what we said, and not of what we did, and we're still not afraid. Because I can promise you this. If I didn't pay the price for the things we both know I did do, I'm certainly not going to pay the price for the things I didn't do. Well, of course, they're going to say I'm being disrespectful, not playing by the rules, like I ever played by anyone's rules before. I never did. And you loved it. Anyhow, despite all the poppycock, the animosity, the headlines, the impeachment without a trial, despite everything, despite even my own death, I feel surprisingly good. And my confidence grows each day that soon enough you will know the full truth. Wait a minute. Now that I think of it, you never actually saw me die, did you? Conclusions can be so deceiving. Miss me?
Okay, guys, so you just heard that clip. I don't know why he set that up on his YouTube page. He did like a whole production, had like, he was pretending like he was at a Christmas party. You hear the people chattering in the background, and then that weird eerie music at the end. This video has over 12 million views. And if you get a chance, like I said, the video is titled Let Me Be Frank. Just go and search it on YouTube and read the comments. So, one of Kevin Spacey's accusers, whom was a public figure, author, and former Norwegian royal, Aaron, his last name is spelled B-E-H-N, first name A-R-I-N. He accused Kevin in 2017 and stated he was groped by Kevin in 2007 during a Nobel Peace Prize concert. And he also reportedly took his own life. Aaron, I hope I'm saying his name right. Aaron took his own life in December 2019 on Christmas Day. So that was very disheartening that he took his own life on Christmas Day. You do have a lot of people saying that he didn't take his own life, that it was a setup because of the previous accuser's death. So, Kevin was a co-host of the Nobel Peace Prize concert when the incident occurred. It was stated, "We had a nice conversation." This is about Kevin. He said, "We had a nice conversation. He was sitting right next to me." Aaron told a Norwegian radio station this in 2017. After 5 minutes, he says, "Hey, let's go out and have a cigarette." And then he takes me under the table in the middle of my balls. I got more than I bargained for. 3 months before Aaron died, in September 2019, an alleged victim of Spacey's also died that was named John Doe. Due to his privacy, he was a long-time massage therapist. We don't know his name, but he sued Kevin in September 2018, alleging that Kevin sexually assaulted him during a massage session. Following John Doe's death, the lawsuit was put on hold and later dismissed. John Doe's cause of death was not released to the public. I couldn't find anything, and most of the news outlets said that they never released anything. So after John Doe and Aaron passed away, it became a total of 3 men who accused Kevin of sexual assault that all died in 1 year. This began a frenzy of conspiracy theories and more media coverage. So I feel that there is some truth behind most of these accusations, but it's always some people who have doubts and will question the sincerity of the accusers. I also feel that it's hard to come forward when you have been sexually assaulted in fear of what people might think and also what people might say. You have people that might not believe you or judge you, especially with Kevin being a public figure. And why did he apologize via Twitter but then claim he did not remember the incident? I still think him coming out and saying he is gay was in poor taste towards the accuser. It was like he was saying, yeah, I know you are claiming this, what happened. I'm sorry about that, even though I don't remember, but let me put more attention towards what I'm going through, my sexuality and me being brave coming out. So that wasn't the right time, Kevin, to come out, in my opinion. You could have waited. And why did you go on Twitter apologizing to him? I know your lawyer or publicist probably didn't even like or wanted you to go on social media like that. Then you have so many accusers from the House of Cards production coming forward. This whole thing comes down to Kevin not being able to control himself. Once he's seen he could get away with sexual assault, he continued this for decades because the accusations goes all the way back to the 80s. And he probably had more before then. We don't know until more people come forward. He did this in a lot of places. It seems like he did it around the world. He did it in London, Los Angeles. He did it at theaters, award shows, at his apartment. He did not seem to care. He just wanted what he wanted and did not care or think about the consequences. So he had a sexual relationship with a minor. The boy was 14. Kevin was in his 20s. So if this is true, he needs to be prosecuted. Point blank, period. I mean, the list of accusations goes on. And I'm not sure why in the Nantucket case, the accuser could not provide the text messages on their phone that the prosecutors claimed they had. That was a major blow in the fact that the accuser did not testify, so they had no choice but to throw out the case. When you are sexually assaulted, it affects you mentally, physically, it follows you. And a lot of times, the state laws and federal laws, they don't protect the victims like they should. I watched a case today. This case been, I think, many years ago. I think it took place in the 80s, but these brothers were sexually assaulting and kidnapping women. And the woman that came forward that escaped from them, the judge gave these men bond. Bailed. He let them, he gave them bail or whatever. But the guys skipped bail and they were on the run. One of the brothers were caught after 16 years. So you can imagine how the victim felt. She said she was always scared that they were going to come back and cause harm to her and her family. These guys did it to numerous women. So, and then one of the other brothers, he wasn't caught till over 20 years later, and he was found in Mexico. So it needs to be harsher laws that for these guys that are committing these crimes. You have more harsher laws in drug cases, and that should not be, because as I said, when you're sexually assaulted, it follows you throughout life. It does affect you. No matter what age you are, it will affect you. I encourage anyone that is listening to seek help and talk to someone. Counseling helped me over the years to cope with my sexual assault. And I am a big advocate on mental health. I will leave resources in the description of this podcast episode. So I also my friend Casman has a website that helps you gain access to mental health care. It is selfxcare.com. So that is spelled SELFXcare.com. And she has a number of resources. And you can also contact the National Suicide Prevention Line. It's a 24-hour toll-free crisis hotline, 1-800-273-8255. You will be able to be in contact with a local crisis center that can tell you where to seek immediate help in your area. Those who are uncomfortable speaking on the phone can text MHA to 741-741 to speak with a trained crisis counselor. So that is the crisis text line. Thank you guys for staying to the end and listening. I really appreciate it. I have more episodes to come. Stay tuned, because this Saturday I'm dropping another episode. It's part of the series about Black women not being protected, and I have some special guests coming on, Casman and Meg. Casman is a writer, and she's an activist and an advocate for mental health. Meg is a psychology major, and she is an activist. So please stay tuned for that, and please subscribe so you can stay updated on future episodes. And thank you so much to everyone that has supported me. It means so much to me. Stay tuned. I'm going to have my website launching soon. It's going to have even more resources about counseling, sexual assault, and many other things. I know a lot is going on at this time. So if you do need help, seek help. Stay positive. Talk to your loved ones. And just remember, whatever you do in life, do it with all your heart. Have a good day, have a good evening, a good morning, whatever time you're listening to this. Keep your energy. Don't allow anyone to take it from you. Bye.